And right now, I will immediately kick it off to Dr. Patricia Solis, who will talk about some of her exciting work at YouthMappers.
Thank you so much, Brian, and thank you, Eddie. I'm very happy to be here today. I have two takeaways, and I'm just going to get them out right away. The first thing I want you to remember is that young people, especially students at universities, are really an important, powerful fuel for the engine of open innovation and open geospatial data. And the second one is that by engaging them and using this data, I really think that we can uncover some of the hidden and overlooked opportunities and threats to resilience. So we started YouthMappers, as Brian mentioned. It's a consortium of student-led chapters. Students have always been involved in the open data movement, but we were trying to make them more visible and support them and bring them to the front and center to help us lead innovation around the data that they're creating. And so we conceptualized YouthMappers in 2014, just in time to launch it and have some action around the Kathmandu earthquake in 2015. As you can see, the open data that was created as part of that, a global effort, our students were really important in building that humanitarian response. That was only a few years ago, and now we have campus chapters in 209 universities in 50 countries. This is a movement more than a network. They're student-led sort of social groups, organizations that do have their faculty mentors on their campus, and they're creating open geospatial data in OpenStreetMap with the humanitarian ecosystem, as well as within their own studies and research in their classrooms. I like to say that OpenStreetMap is a community of communities, and YouthMappers is helping us make that visible, that the students and young people have a really powerful and sometimes overlooked role to play. USAID is our main sponsor and helped us co-design this. It was started with just 3 universities: Texas Tech University, the George Washington University, and West Virginia University, and now managed at Arizona State. But the faces and the voices that you see here, they are the heart and soul of making this work around the world. What do we do for them? Well, I heard someone mention virtual internships earlier, and we do have a virtual internship program with USAID that we're planning on expanding. So if you're interested in that, then very welcome ideas and contacts for that. But we're trying to provide them that visibility and the network, the social and professional network with their peers around the world, so they can connect with each other in the places that they're mapping, with the geospatial industry and the humanitarian sector. So we give them training, we validate the work, we have a team of validators that are trained. We help with access to open geospatial tools. OpenStreetMap is the main platform we work with, but they need to learn all of these tools and technologies. Again, I mentioned the virtual internships, that's really important for them. So they will do these remote joint task campaigns. For example, all the ones that you'll hear from Tyler in a moment that the humanitarian OpenStreetMap team organizes, and many more. And then they will also do their own local initiated field work, and we provide mentorship and connections for that, and sometimes some research funding. We have a research fellowship program for both the students and the mentors, and a bunch of leadership opportunities so they get to actually meet each other in person when we get the chance to do that. So the types of projects that they're working on, we initiated a global campaign around the COVID-19 pandemic to map local health sites and local assets like pharmacies, hospitals, stuff with local knowledge on the healthsites.io. Anything that you can think of in terms of disaster and humanitarian work, from food insecurity in the Philippines to flooding risk for the World Bank. We were a part of the Hurricane Maria damages building estimate in Puerto Rico with many different chapters, in the US, but also in Ghana, Uganda, Bangladesh. They all participated. And I want to just speak really briefly about how that data looks when you put it into action about some disaster-related deaths in Arizona. In fact, heat is the #1 fatal natural hazard in the United States, and it's only growing in importance. And where we are in the Phoenix metro area, that's Maricopa County, it has been increasing over the last few years. Last year was a record year with 197 deaths, heat-associated deaths. Now, weather is not enough to predict the mortality estimates. It's not explained by weather. There are a lot of comorbidities and social and economic factors, but how do we find them? Well, one of the ways that we found them is by mapping. So you'll see a series real quickly of several maps here. These dots in gray are representative of the population distribution in the metro area, the Phoenix metro area. And then we were working with a group of 80 organizations that provide utility assistance to get at the social economic vulnerability. People who cannot afford to pay their utility bills can apply for federal LIHEAP dollars. Those are represented in green. And then we took data from the county, the Maricopa County Public Health Department, and mapped the indoor heat-related deaths, the people who are dying indoors of heat-associated deaths. And you will see here on let's see, it'll be your right-hand side, that there's a line there of deaths that in red, dots in red, that do not correspond to the green dots where they're not getting help. So what's going on there? When you zoom in, you'll see right there that this is in Mesa, Arizona, and you'll actually even see this differential footprint on the map. Those are mobile home parks. So our YouthMappers helped us map all of the building footprints of this area, and we're using it in our research to try to estimate some of the heat differentials, some of the numbers of people that are affected, to overlay that with all sorts of different demographic data, and then data that we're taking on readings with temperature gauges in the mobile homes themselves. We had over 2,000 building features in and of itself, and our YouthMappers actually innovated how to classify the mobile home and the trailer parks, because that was not one of the things that we found obvious in OpenStreetMap. But you can see that the temperature there is much higher than what you would read at the official temperature, and the temperatures indoors at our mobile home residents who participated in this study was also extremely high, and one of them 111 degrees, that's indoor. So while 49% of our county residents live in manufactured or mobile homes, the trailer parks the site of 27.5% of indoor heat associated deaths. I just got the statistics last night for 2019 that were processed by the county health department. Last year it was 40% of indoor heat associated deaths that were in mobile homes. So we were able to find this, this population using the map and basically uncovering that gap. And there's an equity issue as well here, that the Native American and Black populations in our county are also disproportionately represented in the indoor heat associated deaths. So this is sparking a challenge. We did have a lot of our interns this year at Arizona State University that were canceled, unfortunately, as you know. So we've snatched them up for a heat resilience challenge to help us, engineers, law students, and the geographers and the mappers, to try to identify some of the things that we can do this summer to help stem that tide. This is really important because nationally, 20 million people live in mobile homes. And globally, we need to think about what that shelter is looking like in the context of climate change. YouthMappers are mapping everywhere, and we like to say we don't just build maps, we build mappers.